Why do we need to learn how to graph by hand? Why don't we just use Excel? Well, graphing by hand can give you a better idea about how the data points are plotted and how the trend line is drawn. So here I want to use this data set as an example to show you how to plot the data on this graph. First, we need to identify what is the x-axis and what is the y-axis. The data is about the relationship between the volume of liquid and the total mass of beaker and liquid. So the volume of liquid is what I change. I add the liquid to the beaker. And the total mass of beaker and liquid is what I measure. And we know the volume of liquid is an independent variable, which should be on the x-axis. And the total mass of beaker and liquid is a dependent variable, which should be on the y-axis. You probably noticed that I already typed the labels here. And don't forget the unit. Next, we need to come up with a title that is descriptive, but also easy to understand. Now we can plot the data. Let's count how many squares on the x-axis. So we know how the x-axis should be scaled. I already did. There are 14 squares. And let's look at this range of the x values. The highest number we get is 30.58. And the lowest number is 8.45, which is roughly 22. So for each square, it's about 1.5 something. I don't want to use 1.5 to label the x-axis because I'll end up with a bunch of decimal values. I want the graph to be easy to read, so I want whole numbers. How about 2? Can we round it up to 2? Well, let's see. We can start with 8, and then the next one will be 10, 12. Here comes the problem. You see, each square is further divided into smaller squares. So the smallest division, there are 5 divisions on the one large square. So for the smallest division, for each smallest division, it will be 2 divided by 5, that is 0.4. This doesn't follow the 1, 2, 5 rule. We want the smallest division to be either 1, 2, 5, or 0.1, 0.2, 0.5. That means we have to change. How about we increase it to 5? Then for the smallest division, it will be 5 divided by 5 equals 1. This sounds good. Let's see. So I need to change the marking again. To make it easier to count, I'll start with 5. Then 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Here comes another problem. You see the highest value is 30.58. It will be roughly around here. So we won't be able to use the whole graph. I need to change the scale again. How about we make 2 squares equal 5. Let's see. Then 10 is here. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. This time it's much better. So the highest value will be around here. And the lowest value will be around here. And this time the smallest division, so because there are 2 squares equals 5. The smallest division would be 0.5 for the tiny little square. Okay, now we can move on to the y-axis. We can do the same thing for the y-axis. I already counted there are 14 squares too. So the range of the y value is the highest value minus the lowest one. Again, that's about 20. And 20 divided by the number of squares on the y-axis, that's roughly 1.4. We know we don't want the decimal values on the scale, and 2 doesn't work because it won't follow the 1 to 5 rule if we divide it further to calculate the value for the smallest division. How about we use 5 again, just like the x-axis. We make 2 squares equal 5. So we can spread the dots, spread the points all across the y value and make sure we use that almost the whole graph. So that's C. And again, to make easier to count, we start with 140. The next one will be 145. 150, 155, 160, 65, 170. Let's check it again. The highest value is 167, which will be around here. And the lowest value is 148, around here. Right, it works. Now we can start to plot the data points. The first one is 8.45. We know here the solid line is 7.5. So the next one is 8. 8.45 will be in between these 2 lines. Now let's move up and look for its y value. 1.148. 148 is above 147. This is 147.5. So this is 148, and 148.37 will be around here. Now I'm going to draw it up here. The second point is 17.01. This is 16, 17. 17.01 be around here. And let's move up. Look for 154. 154.98 is right behind 155. So let me draw a dot here. The third one is 24.74. That's right next to 25. Remember, the smallest division is 0.5. and the y value is 162.44. This solid line is 162.5, so 160.44 is right under. The last one is 30.58. And the y value is 167. This is solid line is 167.5. So slightly under it. Now we got all the dots. And we need to draw a line. You also need to use a ruler. We want the line to pass as many dots, as many points as possible, or we want the points distributed along the line evenly. I think I'll make my best estimation. Oops. Let's look how it looks like. So yeah, I think it's good. And now that's it. That's our graph. And of course, I want to get rid of the extra numbers here. Okay, now this is our graph, and let's check it again. We have the x-axis label and y-axis label in the title. We have the scale on the x and y axis, and the data points in the line. Looks good, right?